Angelique here needs some help with her ex-husband. We say to you guys, look, if you need some help trying to get some closure in your life, you guys can come to us and we could do some of your dirty work for you, maybe try to get some answers. And in this case here, Angelique goes out on a date with her ex-husband, and her ex-husband ghosts her, and she has no idea why after the date. Hey, Angelique.
Hey, guys.
All right, so lead us up to this point. How long were you guys married? Tell us about the divorce. Pretty amazing that you guys, it sounds like, we're trying to give it another try.
Yeah, it's a long story, but we were married for 4 years. And just, we ended up going through a hard time, and it ultimately just led into the divorce. We don't have kids or anything. But just during that time, there was some financial stress. And then he was unfaithful. And then, it led to my infidelity as well. And it was just, man, it's complicated. It was absolutely heartbreaking. And, the divorce happened like 2 years ago. But 2 months ago, we started talking. He messaged me via text, and it was just out of the blue. I don't even remember really what it was, but we just started chatting, and chatting turned into reminiscing and then flirting, and just after a few days of that, we decided to hang out and see each other. And I don't know, it was really nice, but we were very clear that, we would both just be honest, and we were clear that we were both having feelings for each other, and we were just going to be cautious and, have an open mind about everything. So he did come over to my place, and we cooked dinner and we hung out, and he was going to stay the night that first night, but we decided we should slow down.
Okay.
Because it was just moving super fast. But yep, he did come over again. So the second time he actually, he did spend the night because it was just so perfect and so comfortable. And he left for work the next morning, and I haven't heard from him since.
And
so.
he clearly crashed on the couch and you in your own room. So
that cackle
says it all.
Hey, nobody's number increases. It's all good.
Right. You keep the number the same. And then you follow up with them and there's nothing?
Yeah, there's nothing. It's just so strange because it was pretty amazing, and it just felt like we went back to like when we were good.
You think you panicked?
I think so. I don't know what else it would be. I'm just so confused.
Was there anything at all within those 48 hours that you guys even got in a small little bickering thing about? Like, I'm wondering if there was something there that he's like, oh, well, that's why it didn't work out the first time.
No. I would say, no, it was perfect. It's like we left all that. We just didn't talk about any of the bad stuff. It was good.
Okay, and I'm going to try to keep this PG. The physical part of it was good when you were married, and the physical part of it was fine that night also.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. At least in your eyes.
Fine.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yes.
Any hunches here? I mean, because this is kind of a big deal. Most people that get divorced would never entertain the idea of linking back up with their ex. So just that he was open to it and took the first foot forward, and you did too, and did something with that is pretty amazing in itself.
Well, what's crazy for me is the friends I know who have gotten divorced, after they got divorced, went back and dabbled at least once.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
And then there was somebody else I know that got divorced. That's not all
everyone
couples,
does
Bert.
that.
What?
Yeah, not everyone
But-
does
What are you
it.
guys talking about?
A couple. There's a couple.
snitches.
Yeah, we were. There's a couple I know. They were married, had 2 kids, got divorced, and then rekindled, got married again, got divorced again.
Yeah, right.
I know divorcees that just wanted to see if they could get it one last time.
That was my thought, honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
I
because
didn't want to say that with her on the phone, but it's true.
So I wasn't thinking. Physically, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if the intent with some couples that I know is that. I think that they go their separate ways. They're not comfortable getting physical with other people, so they end up with each other with the mutual kind of agreement that, hey, this is what it's going to be tonight because there's really nothing out there that I trust that's clean. So I'm going to keep it right in here, and then we'll be done with this whole thing, but never with the intent of getting back together.
No, I've seen it be a calculated endeavor because they saw on Instagram like this person's starting to saddle up with somebody else. I'm going to go see if I can get it.
Okay.
I have a little moment. Want to go get that old thing back for a second.
All right, Angelique. So we don't really have to guess anymore because, as you wrote in your email, your ex listens to the show. So he knew what was coming when Tommy reached out to him to try to get some answers, and he was more than eager to answer. So we will give you all those answers in a couple minutes, okay?
Okay.
Angelique wanted answers, which we will give her here in 1 second. Mo, what has gotten us up to this point right here?
Well, she and her husband had divorced, and then now they were going on a date. They did go on a date. They went on one date, and it was good. It was a cool date, but he did not end up staying the night. He went his separate ways. The second date was even better. They had a moment. They kind of reconciled, and he stayed the night. Things seemed to be magical. She can't understand why. After that, she would hit him up, and then he wouldn't respond. He kind of just ghosted. She hasn't heard anything from him since, so she's trying to figure out what is going on.
So we've been sitting here trying to figure it out. Like, was there something that sparked his memory? Like, oh, yeah, that's the reason right there we got divorced. But Angelique says there was nothing over the course of those 48 hours.
And as far as the divorce goes, why it ended, she said there was financial stress, and then he was unfaithful, then she was unfaithful, and so then the thing just imploded.
I've always said this, two unfaithfuls don't make a faithful.
It doesn't. It does not.
That's you?
You need to put
Came up
that
with
on an inspirational poster.
That's just math.
The great Bert Weiss, ladies.
Two negatives can make a positive, though.
You guys will only understand my wisdom and intelligence when I'm dead. I'll be like a great artist. While he was alive, they're like, oh, that sucks. But then he dies, and they're like, oh, my God, he was brilliant.
He was so profound.
I wish I could tell him.
We should have told him while he was with us.
Hey, guys, he's with us right now.
Hey, you're pretty great, man.
You're so smart.
Yeah, man, you're the best.
All right, Angelique. So you reached out to us. You said your ex-husband is a listener, so you were pretty sure he would be open to answering your questions, and he did just that. Tommy, you want to give us kind of a rundown? Like, was he reluctant?
Oh, no.
No,
he's a P1. He listens all the time, and he knew what was going on. And I reached out and I explained, Angelique's confusion and that she was under the impression that they were taking things slow, but being open-minded. And I wanted to get his perspective and his side of the story.
Okay. So, here was his response, Angelique. It says, hey, Tommy. Hey, Bert. Kristen, Mo, Davi, since I know you all will read this, I do listen to your show. I've listened for years, and even if you rip me apart after reading this, I'll still keep listening. Okay, that's good. That's commitment.
Yeah.
Well, let's just see
Yeah.
if he's being honest.
We'll see.
A lot of people say things, sometimes they don't back up.
Right. All right, Angelique, here we go. Yes, I fully accept it, but I'm a coward. I started something that I realized I didn't want to finish. I finished one. I started something I realized I didn't want to finish, and I didn't feel like cleaning up my mess.
That's what she said.
Never do.
He didn't feel like cleaning up his mess. Okay. Was that pretty typical in your marriage also, where the dude just kind of like turned his back on stress and rather than deal with it, just put it aside, and maybe those things built up and caused a lot of stress between the two of you guys?
Yeah, he's not a great communicator sometimes, and I think that's ultimately what was our problem. He has a hard time just like sticking it through, and just he does this. So,
all right, he says.
Anything else? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. Marriage can be complicated, he says. Divorce can be ugly. But the period after can be a lonely, confusing mind F. Feelings don't just disappear. They just get mixed up with memories and then self-doubt for the decision you made. After enough time has passed to forget the bad or what drove you to divorce in the first place, those feelings and memories can create all sorts of confusion. I can't handle it. I didn't handle it in the right way. I should have dealt with those thoughts and feelings alone before ever contacting her. The idea of seeing her was exciting, but I'm not sure it was a healthy way. I should have realized it was a mistake and that I was opening up a can of worms that I wasn't prepared to understand or deal with. However, I did. I opened up those worms, and now I've created a confusing mess for both of us. When I realized I was confused by my feelings and not certain of them, I realized I risked hurting her if I didn't walk away fast, so I did. I walked away to get my mind, thoughts, and heart right. I decided it was for better for her to be angry at me than to be sad and to hurt her again. This was my fault. I handled it wrong. And that was the end. It's pretty typical stuff right here.
Yeah, it makes sense. It sucks. That doesn't take away from the fact that it sucks. And at least he openly admits he handled it incorrectly. I don't think I saw an apology, though.
Nope.
That's the one thing he left out.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of implied in there.
Well,
I mean, he took accountability.
Yeah.
Yes, he did,
Yeah.
for
For
sure.
sure.
Yes.
But, like, why does everybody realize they're confused after they do it?
Yeah, there's
Like
something
one
with...
last time, and then they're like, now my head is on weird.
Sometimes you get real clarity after the full release.
Okay.
Real 100%
Every
clarity.
time. Yeah, you do.
Angelique, how does this make you feel?
There's a lot of feelings right now that
I
I'm
bet.
going through. Why couldn't he have told me any of this? Like, why couldn't he have just told me that he was feeling this way instead of just leaving me just so confused? And I thought, we were going to take another step or at least talk. I'm an adult. Like, we have a lot of history. We could have talked about this.
Well, he
Yeah,
said
he
I was
says it.
being a
Yeah,
coward.
he says
it,
yeah.
He's like, I didn't want to hurt her by telling her the truth. I thought it'd be better for her to be angry at me by just ghosting. So
Look,
it kind of makes sense.
I've told
It
you guys,
does.
I had been this guy for a very long time, that I never wanted to be the bad guy. So I would stay in a relationship I didn't want to be in. I wasn't brave enough to be honest and deal through the conflict or say that I wanted to walk away. So I did the cowardly thing, just like he did, and would either ghost or not be honest. But really all you're doing is, because in your mind, what you're saying is, oh, I don't want to hurt her, so I'm not going to use the words that are truthful. And you think that's going to not be hurtful. But the truth of the matter is you're just pushing the pain down the road, because essentially the truth will come out eventually. So you're just pushing it down the road a little bit.
He thought it would be better to make you mad rather than sad, but ultimately you just end up feeling both.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry you
it
had to
really
go through
sucks.
that. Now you have complete clarity. That won't happen again. It's time to totally, you know what? This is a clean slate for you. The door is closed. You know who he is. He is showing you what he is. Just 100% try and move on now.
Yeah, I'm going to work on letting go. I appreciate it. This wasn't what I was expecting, but thank you.
All right, Angelique. Bye-bye.
The Bert Show.